Hello there, my name is Kirin Sage, and welcome to Texturing for 3D Avatars. As the name suggests, this is a tutorial series for doing textures for 3D avatars, like the one I'm using right here. In case you didn't know, all the colors and patterns on this were done by yours truly. So, in this tutorial series, we'll be covering 3 different workflows. In the first chapter of this, we'll be working with Blender purely. It serves as the middle ground between cost and complexity because we'll be doing everything purely in Blender. And it's in case you didn't know, Blender is a pretty extensive program. You can use it for 3D modeling, 3D texturing, 3D sculpting, video editing, whatever your heart desires. You can even use it for 2D animation if you feel like it, or even 3D animation. Who knows? But in this tutorial series, we'll be focusing on the texture painting aspect of that. As the next chapter, we'll be using a different image editing program. That method, while it is a bit more tedious and does require a fair bit more back and forth, it is better if your computer or whatever you're using isn't as high performance, because Blender, obviously, you're going to be in that 3D workspace, constantly rendering it. Well, not rendering per se, but you will have it rendered on screen. I'll explain more later on. But yeah, the second chapter, we'll be using a different image editing workspace. In this case, we'll be using firealpaca because that's what I have on hand. You can use any image editing thing that you want. Most people use Photoshop, but whatever you have, whatever you want to use, go right ahead. As long as you can import transparent PNGs and export transparent PNGs, you're all set. And then as the final and third chapter, we'll be using Substance Painter. It is a dedicated 3D texturing painting program. It is a bit on the pricey side. There are cheaper alternatives. I personally haven't used them, so I can't vouch to how good they perform, but the main one I do see around is Armor Paint. So you can give that a look. It's like $20 if you want to give that a look, whereas Substance Painter is quite pricey at around about $160, or give or take. I'm in the UK, so I'm on UK pricing. I'm just rounding around in my head. But yeah, Substance Painter is a bit up there. You could look at Armor Paint, or you could do your own digging, find some other 3D texturing program. Whatever you want to do, that's all fine with you. Most of the same aspects will apply. So, with that said, the first video in this tutorial series is going to focus on UV unwrapping. The reason being, assuming you're not using a model from like Gumroad or something, you're going to have to UV unwrap your model. Reason being, if you don't UV unwrap your model, any 3D program won't know where to put the textures you paint. If you make like even the slightest mark, it'll just slap that on the entire thing. So you need to UV unwrap it to tell it where to put all the colors and everything as you're texture painting. Like I said, that will be covered in detail in the first video in this tutorial series. First chapter is going to be Blender, second chapter image editing, and third chapter is going to be Substance Painter, or whatever other 3D texture painting program you want to use. So I do hope you enjoy. I do hope it helps you at some bit, because I wanted to make this tutorial series because I remember when I started out streaming, I was looking into how much it would cost to get someone else to texture a model for me, and I saw it was very expensive. So I decided I'm going to learn it myself. But at the time, there wasn't really much in the way of informational content, teaching content, whatever you want to call it, for doing texture painting on avatars. So we're going to cover that at the end of the tutorial series. I am going to do a little bonus video for putting these together as an avatar, whether that be a VRM if you want to use it for streaming or whatnot, or VR chat, whatever you fancy. It will be in that bonus video after all the chapters. So I do hope you stick around for that, and I do hope this tutorial series helps you. So I will see you in the next video. And whether it's day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever unknown time of day is for you, I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you around. Bye-bye.